A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of EU Chambers, I would like to thank you for taking your time from the busy schedule to join us today. Today, we are going to discuss about the investment opportunities that are available to Indian companies in the city of Lodz. Let me begin by introducing you to Mr. Piyush Kaushik, who is the Vice President of EU Chambers. He is the Global Mobile Surgery Business Leader and Head of Healthcare Innovation Center Pune, joined Philips in 2017. He led diverse businesses in startup growth, realignment, and turnaround situations, including set up a global technology center in Pune, realignment of several global R&D centers worldwide, and turn around the businesses by improving product profitability and operational efficiency. So may I invite you to kindly give the welcome address and also introduce the deputy mayor.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Anita, for the introduction. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the webinar on investment opportunity for the business services sector in the city of Lodz. Also, first, let me extend a warm welcome to our distinguished speakers, Mr. Adam Pustelnik, Deputy Mayor, City of Lodz. And you need to excuse me for my pronunciation because I'm not too familiar with the Polish pronunciation. Mr. Damian Irzyk, Consul General Consulate of Republic of Poland. Ms. Monika Grzelak, Polish Investment and Trade Agency. Mr. Przemyslaw Slawinski, Infosys. So welcome all. It's my proud privilege to introduce our guest of honor for today's event, Mr. Adam Pustelnik, Deputy Mayor of City of Lodz. Adam Pustelnik, the first Deputy Mayor of City of Lodz, graduated from University of Lodz in Master of Law International Relations, the European Academy of Diplomacy and University of Oxford. He worked among others in close cooperation with Indian business and played a key role in facilitation of economic relations between Indian and Polish business. As the Deputy Mayor of the City of Lodz, his responsibility covered, in particular, such areas as urban planning, architectural, construction, administration, as well as economic development and international relations. Your Excellency, let me tell you, especially with your beautiful country, Chamber shares a very close and strong relationship. As you in past, we had number of interaction with the business community of your country, either by visiting them or hosting them. Let me please allow me to share also about the EU Chamber, the Council of EU Chamber of Commerce in India. It's one of the foremost trade promotion organization in India, established in 1992 to promote, foster, and extend commercial, economic, cultural relations between India and EU. The Chamber's primary promoters consist of European binational chambers and European binational business committees, and its chief patron is the ambassador and the head of delegation of European Union to India. The membership of Chamber includes representation from several industry sectors, such as banking and finance, infrastructure, automobiles, pharmaceuticals, electrical engineering, shipping and logistics, consulting, IT, energy, agriculture, healthcare. The different industries are part of that. In addition, we also have functional and advisory support committee across various sectors of industries, headed by very senior people from the industry. These committee in the chamber can support SMEs in various European countries seeking to establish a strong business relationship with India, whether it is trade, partnership, technology exchange, joint venture, greenfield investment. We would be delighted to offer and extend our chamber service to them. Now, I would like to spend some time also on our bilateral trade relation in three areas. Number one, economic and commercial relationship between Poland and India. Poland is India's largest trade partner and export destination in Central European region. with bilateral trade growing almost sevenfold over the last 10 years. As per Indian statistics, the overall value of bilateral trade in 2019 was 2.36 billion US dollar. India export to Poland was 0.5% of overall India export, in which 0.15% of India import was covered by Poland in 2019. The second, on the investment. Indian investment in Poland are valued at around over more than 3 billion US dollar, which comprise companies in different sectors like Videocon, Escort, Renbexy, KPIT Cummins, Gensa Technology, TCS, SCL. There are many such, and Infosys, of course. On the other side, total Polish investment in India is estimated at around 672 million US dollar. And there are important Polish company presents are TZMO, Canpack, Famor, Eglo, Solaris, BBT, and there are many more. The third area is Indian community. Indian community in Poland estimated to be around 10,000 and consists of different traders who came after collapse of communism and professional within multinational and Indian companies, software, IT expert, right? Many number of students are also coming on the same list. So with such a strong, cordial and strong relation between two countries, we hope today's webinar will transfer some good contacts and business for both of us. So looking forward for this event, and back to you, Monika.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request the Deputy Mayor, Mr. Adam Pustelnik, to now address our attendees, please.
Thank you very much. I hope that you hear me well enough. We are having some technical issues with our internet here. I want to apologize you for potential issues in this segment. However, I would like to thank you very much for this invitation and the chance to be among you. Thank you very much, sir, for the very kind words. I want to respect your time very much, so I will be very brief. Your Excellency, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the economic relationships and ties between Poland and India, and particularly Łódź and Central Poland agglomeration with India, is very deep and it's very important. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, employer in the business service sector, which constitutes for a majority of workplaces for the middle-class Indian company Infosys. And Infosys came to Łódź in a time where the economic situation was far worse than it is right now. So it contributed vastly to the economic growth of the city, and to a large extent, it caused our good economic situation in which we are right now. An interesting factor is that particularly in the city of Łódź, but generally in central Poland, the share of Indian and Asian, broadly speaking, capital is the highest out of all regions in Poland. Over 20% of our working places in the corporate segment is provided by investors from the region of Asia, which is by far the highest input and highest share out of all Polish cities. We are very proud of it, and I think that it contributes a lot to our diversity and the very convenient economic situation in which we are right now. I also believe that there is huge space for growth and deeper tightening of those relations in the COVID and post-COVID times. I believe that having in mind the dynamics of Indian economy and dynamics of many Indian corporate entities, I think there is still large space for it. The major advantages and the major factors that create our attractiveness, not only as a city, but as a country, is still a pretty high public aid level which is available in Poland because of our positioning within the European Union, and still, contrary to many countries of the so-called old EU, the public aid possibilities in Poland are way higher than elsewhere. I think it's a very powerful economic tool. Also, one of the unique elements in Poland and also in Łódź is the fact that entire country is covered by the so-called one investment zone, Polish investment zone, where the entire country is one big special economic zone territory. I think it was a great move by the government, and I think it positions us economically way better than we were in the past. One of the unique selling points is the fact that we are, right now I'm speaking as deputy mayor of Łódź and a representative of Central Poland. I think from the logistics perspective is the best located area, at least in Central Europe, because it's on a junction and crossroads of all pan-European highways, motorways, and railways, which makes us so connected and so available that you can access us within a very short time from almost every point of the world. It gives us a huge advantage. The economic zone was ranked among one of the best in Europe and globally in finance. It's amazing. Particular is the talent pool that's on the market. The academic segment and the universities are a very strong element of the local landscape, and the skills, the talent pool, comparing to many EU partners.
Did we lose him?
I believe his connection is lost. Mr. Adam, can you hear us? I think we lost you. Okay.
Yeah, we lost him.
We'll just wait 2 minutes. I believe he'll rejoin. Okay, Mr. Adam will join in a minute. I guess he's joining now. Yeah. Yes. Tak.
Really sorry for the technical inconvenience, but remote work has also its disadvantages. I'm really sorry. I'm
So
Shall
I think it will take a little time. So we'll just move further. Uh, so let me just introduce you to the Consul General of Poland, Mr. Damian Irzyk. He graduated from Poznan University of Economics and National School of Public Administration. He previously served as a cohesion fund expert at the Ministry of Regional Development, economic counselor at Polish Embassy in Jakarta, and political counselor at Polish Embassy in Beijing. Today, he will be sharing his view on why Poland is an attractive destination, especially for Indian companies. Over to you, Mr. Damian.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, still in Poland. No, good afternoon to everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to with you today. I'm especially thankful to Mr. Piotr Kosik from the EU Chambers of Commerce. I always enjoy any interaction with the members of the chamber, and when Dr. Renushon approached me with the idea of having such a webinar, so I have no doubts that it's going to be an attractive opportunity for me to share the reasons why Poland is a good place for Indian investments. So let me start with the broader economic situation of Poland. It's good to remind that since 3 decades, Poland is on a constant growth path, and that a lot it creates more and more investment potentials each year. So it was almost the same year as after opening up, and same as India, we've managed to grow without any interruption, even in 2008, 2009, where the whole let's say Western world was somehow struggling with the shrinking GDPs. Poland, as well as India, kept growing, but that year was also particularly important for both nations, as we realized that we rely only on business, and both Poland and India started to reach out to new markets beyond the EU and beyond North America. So that resulted also as a program for expanding beyond EU, beyond this comfort zone that they have with the same regulations and way of doing business. And Polish companies are increasingly active on overseas markets. Poland's economic success was acknowledged by the major rating houses like Moody's or S&P or Fitch, who basically rates Poland A2, A-, that kind of very, very optimistic ratings. What is important that our image was not even shattered by the COVID-19 last year. Poland was among countries least affected by the lockdowns, and our economy will shrink probably about 4.5% last year, which is relatively good comparing to other countries which were fighting COVID. So we are also expecting our economy to grow rapidly this year, making up the loss that we made last year. The numbers that particularly mirror our economic success is the GDP per capita. It may come as a surprise to our Indian audience, but Poland is now among high income, and GDP per capita is in the range of 36,000 this year in purchasing power parity. Why I'm emphasizing here is because it reflects the level of prices in Poland, who are considerably lower than in other parts of the EU. And Poland is, I would say, a very reasonable priced country. Whatever comes to services, to land, to properties, it's a very competitive market. So 36,000 there, it's about 6 times more than we made at the beginning of our transition period 3 decades ago. So my whole generation is actually we was actually growing up together with the Polish economy. We don't know the world with recession. So I hope it will stay that way for years to come. We have a lot of reasons to be optimistic about the perspective of the Polish economy, as all the rankings on doing business, global competitiveness report, corruption perception index, we are among the best countries within our region. It's important to emphasize that as a region, I call the Central Europe, but in the middle of the continent. We are in the eastern part of EU, but right in the middle of the continent. As I said about the economic indicators, they are also reflected by the investor sentiment around the globe. We are now number 3 when it comes for influx of greenfield investments. Last year it was about $22 billion, which put us in the first 3 countries in Europe, as well as about, well, we can count about 200 projects that are currently running as a greenfield investment in Poland. What is important is that Poland is now, I mean, it's used to be, and it's now, and will still be a big recipient of the EU both grants and privilege loans, because you might be aware that EU has a huge financial program which was agreed on the European Council summit last year for the years 2021-2027, and we are expecting to receive about 67 billion euros during this financial period. So it will further improve our infrastructure and will further invest in Polish development. I've mentioned the strategic location, which is, well, it's always worth to say, the case of one Indian investor who was traveling to Germany and was trying to purchase a company there, and well, to gain a better access to EU market. And he traveled whole Germany and he couldn't find anything that was really kind of interesting to them. So this investor comes from Maharashtra, by the way, so it's not very close to my heart and my location at the moment. But then he realized that actually just next to the German border is a very dynamic country named Poland, and he purchased 2 factories there, and he realized that it's actually just 2 hours drive from Berlin, the capital of Germany, and he can easily produce in this region and selling it to Germany and further west to France and Spain and Italy. So his story is still continued, as he is now purchasing new plots, and he's building a 3rd factory in this place, and he is now a major employer in this city. So this shows us as an example of how Poland is conveniently located in Europe. It was also spotted by the Chinese when they announced this Belt and Road project, as they realized that basically all the trains that are passing from China to Europe, they must go through Poland. It's very difficult to overpass us. This is about the railway, so we are also benefited from And Poland is also right at the Baltic Sea, so that means that we have an easy access to the deep sea, and Gdańsk is in particular interesting port, which invested heavily in its deep water container terminal, and that makes Poland also very accessible for seas. Poland in recent years experienced a rapid development of airports. We have 13, 14 international airports in Poland, and our national carrier launched direct flights to New Delhi. That has stopped for the COVID at the moment, but we're looking forward to return to Delhi airport. Now there is a direct connection between Warsaw and Mumbai, but only cargo flights. And I hope that this experience will result in more permanent Lodz Polish Airlines presence in Mumbai, and eventually it will cut short our travels to Warsaw to just 7 or 8 hours, comparing to today's 10 to 12. Poland is an attractive place for investments, also because of our well-educated population. About 92% of Poles have at least secondary education. About 1/3 is are the graduates of higher schools and universities and colleges. That also translates into a very well commented English. And if you will see all the rankings that are made by the Brits on the proficiency in English, Poland ranks in the top 10 in the world. So as obviously English is not our first language, but it's definitely first foreign language in Poland, and it's basically no issue speaking English to anyone in Poland. So that's about the our young and educated workforce, but also I have a few words on Łódź. Łódź is a particular interesting places. Mr. Mayor Adam Pustelnik just mentioned, but I'm a big fan of Łódź since several years. I observed this city very actively promoting itself in China when I was posted there. It was one of the very few Polish cities who was very active years ago in China, and I hope that they will also use their experiences while reaching out to India. And I am a frequent visitor to Łódź. Every year I'm coming to Poland. I go to Łódź because I'm amazed how fast this city is changing, and how modern it became in just less than 20 years. Last but not least, obviously, our colleagues from Polish investments agency, Trade and Investment Agency, will have more details about the profile of our economy, but I wanted to say a few words about the services, as this is the main topic of our meeting today. And to cut this long story short, Poland, what India does for the world when it comes for services, Poland does for Europe. So now we are number 3 in terms of employment in the business services sector in the world. So obviously India, it's number 1, then the Philippines, and then Poland as number 3 in the whole world. So we are far the largest in Europe when it comes to BSS and ITs and all other services for business, and we are constantly growing, and there's a very favorable climate for that. And I would not I would miss a very important thing. I'm here now in Mumbai, the capital of Indian cinema, and the capital of the name of Bollywood, and Łódź is also the capital of Polish film industry. So I'm very much looking forward also to that link, and Łódź is not only the city of the best Polish film school, but also a city known from its production houses, with very well experienced and professional experts in cinema. So I'm very much looking forward to increase that exchanges as well. So I would stop here, and I'm very much looking forward for the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Damian. It was good to hear that this Maharashtrian company could open not one, two, but three companies in Poland. Now, since Mr. Adam is back, so we lost you in between, but sir, I would request you to kindly take over again. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Consul, for those kind words. I'll just briefly summarize, and I want to once again apologize for the turbulences, but we are having technical works in the office. I just wanted to mention it very clearly that Indian business contributed among many other international investors, I think the most towards growth because of Infosys in a very particular time, which I'm very grateful for. And I think it's a very high depth that the city has towards Indian economy and Indian businesses. I'm also very grateful to Mr. Amit Lodz and his activity as an Indo-Indian chamber. We have a great ambassador here in Łódź in central Poland for building bridges between Poland, Łódź, and India. I think that without him, the Indian diaspora and the activities between us would not be as dynamic as they are. I think that there is still huge growth potential because of the opportunities that current situation creates. And I truly believe that those ties will be deepening, tightening, and growing. Among the major elements of Polish and which offer here are connectivity, talent pool, lingual abilities, public aid, which makes us unique on the European Union map. And I think that Łódź and Poland is a great gateway to Europe for international business in general, and Indian business in particular. So once again, thank you very much for inviting me. I will listen to all the presentations with great pleasure. Special thanks to Mr. Lodz for making all those opportunities possible. And once again, thank you to the colleagues from Infosys for developing their operations so broadly here. I keep my fingers crossed for more. And ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day and wonderful discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adam, for joining us today. Hope we get an opportunity to host you in near future as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Ms. Monika Grzelak. She is the Manager, Center of Strategic Investment in Polish Investment and Trade Agency. She is a part of the team supporting the foreign direct investments. Monika is specialized in supporting investors from the business service sector, assisting them in locating their centers in Poland. Ms. Grzelak, may I request you to kindly share your views on the investment opportunities in Poland, the investment incentives available to Indian companies. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this kind introduction and also for the invitation to present today during this webinar. I hope that you can hear me well and that you can see my screen. It was already said, I work in the Center for Strategic Investments at Polish Investment and Trade Agency. And it will be my pleasure to present the main advantages of Poland as a place for your investments. But let me start very briefly with the introduction of the agency and of what we do and how we support investors. So first of all, Polish Investment and Trade Agency, or PAIH, what's the short name in Polish, is responsible for two pillars. The first pillar is supporting Polish exporters, and the second one is to support foreign direct investments to Poland. And that is also my responsibility and our team. We work with companies from all over the world and across various sectors. We support them through the whole investment process. So right from the beginning, when you're looking for information about Poland, when you want to find out what is the talent pool in Poland, what are the costs, what are the rental costs, what is the taxation system, or any other information that you need to make your business case, we are able to help you with that. We can also provide you with the support to organize your business trip to Poland and site visits, meetings with local stakeholders, local authorities, or other companies that have already invested in Poland, and meeting with those companies has proved to be the most effective and also the most objective for investors to actually get to know the real opinion about investing in Poland. Of course, in the last year, it was not possible to to travel and to organize the site location visits, and so we have moved it to the virtual world. And we still organize such visits, but remotely. And I must say they have proved to be almost equally effective. As I said, we work with a lot of companies from different countries. I've checked that in the last years, in the last 15 years, we've been working with 19 Indian investment projects that successfully established their businesses in Poland. Most of them, 14 to be specific, were from the business services sector, and 5 of them were from the manufacturing and logistics. Our team is based in Poland, in Warsaw, but we operate in all of the country. We also have a presence in India through our foreign office, which is located in Mumbai, and this could be also for you a first point of contact with our agency. Let me introduce also briefly Poland and where we are. So we are located very centrally in Europe, and it was already mentioned by Mr. Consul and by Mr. Mayor that this geographical location has proved to be very successful for us. And it's not only from the logistics perspective, but also in terms of the business service sector, from the perspective of the availability to serve various time zones. So when we start our workday in Poland, for the first part of the day, we're able to work with Asian destinations. And for the second part of the day, we can work with United States, for example. Poland is very easily accessed from all the European capitals, but also there, before the pandemic, of course, there were some direct connections from more distant locations. For example, a direct connections with New Delhi operated by Lodz Polish Airlines. And of course, we hope it will be restored as soon as possible. Comparing to other Central and Eastern European countries, and I will make this comparison very often because we consider those countries our direct competition. We are the largest country. We are also the 5th in the European Union. Warsaw is our capital city, and Polish language is the language that we speak. Some say that it's one of the most difficult languages in the world. So maybe that's why Polish people are also so good in speaking other languages. And although just a little bit more than half of Polish people declare that they speak English, I would say that in the business, it's somewhere close to 100%. We are part of the European Union, but we have our own currency. It's the Polish zloty. In terms of the sectors, we can say that we have a very diversified economy, and there are various sectors that could be considered as a priority for us and where we have a lot of foreign direct investments. So these sectors would be, in terms of manufacturing, it would be the automotive and e-mobility, the aerospace, food processing, and electronics. And on the other hand, we have the business service sector with all the shared service centers, BPOs, ITOs, and R&D centers. Today, we will focus on the business services sector as it's also one of the most heavily represented by foreign investors. And out of the 1,500 business centers that we have in Poland, close to 1,000 is foreign owned. The employment in the sector is 300,000, which accounts for 5% of all the employment in the business sector. And more importantly, it is growing about 10% each year. It is said that 85 new jobs are created in the business service sector every day. So what is driving the interest in Poland? The first and main reason is the human capital. So Poland, as I already mentioned, is the largest country in Central and Eastern Europe. We account for the 30% of the population of the region, and we are double the size of Romania, so the second largest country in the region. Our population is over 38 million people, and more than half of it is in a working age. What is also interesting, we're getting more and more foreigners to work in Poland. And it's probably surprising to find out that Poland is has the largest inflow of foreigners coming for employment reason in the whole European Union. We are also having each year more and more foreign students as the education in Poland has of a very high quality and at the same time not so expensive as in other EU countries. But of course, it's not just about the quantity of people, of the talent pool, it's also the quality. And people in Poland have a very strong educational background. That's because the universities, unlike in other CE countries, they're spread all over Poland. So it's not just one university hub, but you have universities in all the large cities, but also in some mid-sized cities, which, for example, also works well for the cooperation between business and the academia. What is also very interesting is that 1/3 of the Polish students they study the so-called STEM faculties, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we are particularly proud of our IT guys who are very renowned in the world, and they are ranked as the third best software developers in the world, just after China and Russia. And they're also ranked as the first in Java programming. In terms of the knowledge of foreign languages, you may find interesting to know that there are 38 foreign languages spoken in the BPO or in the business service centers in Poland. I saw there was a question about the availability of talent comparing Łódź, Warsaw, and Krakow. And I would say that thanks to this, that the universities are everywhere, you can find the right talent everywhere. You don't need to go to the largest cities. You don't need to go to the capital. You can go to the city like Łódź, and you'll still find good talent with good knowledge of languages. Another main reason driving interest in Poland is the economic stability. And Mr. Consul has already explained how our country was in constant growth since the transition 30 years ago. So let me just add to this that from our perspective and from the FDI perspective, we are also very proud to see that the number of FDIs is growing each year. We as a Polish Investment and Trade Agency, each year we perform a survey among our investors, asking them about the investment climate in Poland. And we are happy to say that 94% of our investors asked if they would invest again in Poland. They say yes. So it's a very good information for us. But of course, we'll continue to work to make this even better and even more business friendly. The geographical location and the multiple cities to choose from, it was already said. So the logistics and the availability to work with different time zones, that's one point. And the second point is that you have a lot of locations in Poland, especially for the business services sector, where you can create your business. And as I mentioned, you don't need to go to the largest cities, those most mature. You can also choose from the so-called tier 2 or tier 3 cities, where you also have the university, you have the right talent, but for example, you have it more cost effective, and it's not so competitive for you. Then the last thing that I wanted to mention, the last reason why you should consider investing in Poland are the investment incentives, as there we have highest level of incentives in the European Union. And the investment incentives that are available to large companies, as most of the foreign investors are large companies, consider of two main instruments. First one is the so-called Polish investment zone. So it's a corporate tax exemption that's available in the territory of in the whole territory of Poland. And its level depends where you decide to locate your investment. It can be between 10 to 50% for large enterprise. If you are an SME, then you get extra 10 points or 20 points, depending on your size, 20 percentage points. The second instrument that is available for new investments is the program of government cash grants. And it's available to more, let's say, strategic investors creating large number of new jobs or large amount of investment costs. what I would like you to remember is that the availability of incentives, it should be assessed case by case, and we can help you with that. It's the level of the aid is calculated based on the investment costs. In case of manufacturing, it will be the CapEx, so capital expenditures. In case of business service center, it would be the 2-year labor costs. Apart from those two national incentives, we have also European Union funds, which are mostly available to the projects in the area of research and development and very innovative projects. And for that, we also have a lot of tax incentives. So if you're planning to do some R&D in Poland, you can definitely count on many more investment incentives than if you're doing some other type of investment. And that would include some additional tax cuts and preferential tax rates. I don't want to get into too many details. If you're interested in that, you can contact us at the Polish Investment and Trade Agency. I hope that you found this very brief introduction of the reasons to invest in Poland helpful, and I will be happy to help you with more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Grzelak, for the lovely presentation and a lot of information shared on Poland. Our next speaker is Mr. Przemyslaw Slawinski, Service Head Client Operations, Infosys Poland. He's currently heading a position of Services Head at Infosys Poland. Since 2010, he has been working on different specialized and managerial roles in SSC, GBS BPO sector, delivering large and complex projects. So over to you.
Okay, hello, good afternoon and good evening to all of the attendees. It's again, I would say, a great pleasure to be there with you, and I hope I'm audible, by the way, and to present, I think, on two topics mainly. But of course, afterwards, I'm there for you to answer all of the questions which may pop up. So first, I wanted to share with you the transformation and development journey of Infosys Poland company in Łódź, but also in Poland, as you will see at the end of this story, so that it can be an inspiration for your company to come here and follow the well-structured path, together with all the support you can get from International Relations Office, from Deputy Major, and other companies from the sector and the departments like PAIH, represented by Ms. Monika just a while back. And the second point would be with regards to some of the best practices and good experience which we have working with Łódź and Poland administrations, helping us to get rid of many obstacles, but also grow both internally and externally. So hope you will find it interesting. Okay, so as you can see on this slide, we have started our journey in Poland in 2007. Where Infosys company acquired globally many of shared services from a Philips company, and one of these big shared service was in Łódź. So we acquired and rebadged the employees with a number of around 800 people, and of course this was the start. We had one client servicing in one English language. And once everything was structured and on steady state, we have decided to develop the center and to become a real European hub of Infosys. So over the next years, we have signed the deals with two big clients, well-known names and brands, which was Procter & Gamble and Rio Tinto, so the global mining giant. These new deals allowed us to differentiate and enlarge the portfolio, and also add new languages like French or Spanish on a larger scale. In 2012, it was also a huge milestone for us, because while growing and being around 1,300 employees company, we have moved to the brand new building to enable further growth. And with this big date of 12 of 2012, we have moved officially to the Green Horizon building, in which we stay till now. And even now I'm here talking to you from this office. We are here in 4 different buildings, very close to each other. And during this time, for the further and for the next years, we are developing and enlarging our service delivery and service offering, I think, which is also very important. So being not only in a retail and consumer goods sector, but developing in the global mining, as I said, manufacturing, service communication, IT, healthcare, and banking. So these were and these are the areas and the industries which we support for our clients. And in terms of service line proposed, so across all of the industries, which we call the vertical offering, we have the horizontal offering, so the processes which we do for and perform for our clients. So finance area with accounts payable, order to cash, record to report, and taxes. Then we have the procurement with transactional, tactical, and strategic activities. Then sales and fulfillment, managing the consumers' orders, master data management, customer service, and logistics supports. Ending with human resources operations, so recruitment, administration, payroll processing, and trainings, which we do not only for our colleagues here in Infosys, of course, but this is the service line proposed to our clients in different countries and in different languages. This was the standard service line which we are offering at Infosys, but also we are proud to perform what we call high-end services, meaning more complex ones, which we call business process management, in contrary to business process outsourcing, which was the famous shortcut for many years in the industry. So from these high-end services, what we can do is, I think, tax and internal audits, digital transformation services. We are proposing the solutions and transformation for the client's organization. The data analytics team is growing together with their center of excellence, and of course technology solution group, which is having a bunch of colleagues performing programming and developing activities in IT industry. In this area, we are doing the tactical automations, the RPA, so the famous robotic process automation, and of course machine learning. So the entire portfolio of ITO has also came to Infosys Poland together with the development and the needs of the market. So this was this big change between 2014 and 2019, and at this stage something big happened for development of Infosys in Poland, because after another global acquisition, we have also taken over the second delivery center in Poland, which is the center in Wrocław. And in total, our company from the beginning 800, we've become 2,300 employees. speaking around 25 foreign languages, which also confirms the availability of the pool of the multilingual resources, both Polish but also foreigners, and confirming what my previous speakers was saying before to myself. In our company currently, foreigners are I think 25% of the headcount, so a big and very important part of our Infosys family. 2020, while it was very challenging in terms of the COVID situation and switching totally to work from home work, we were continuing the expansion in Poland, and another two openings of 2 centers happened. One you can see on the slide, which is the big SSC takeover in Poznań, around 300 employees, and the one which is yet to officially announce which is happening in Krakow soon. So a part of the presence in terms of the ITO with small offices in Krakow will be having also our business process management entity there. So yeah, this is the story of Infosys in Poland, and it still continues and develops. So happy to take any questions on that. And now, while I'm still having a few minutes, I hope, a few examples of best practices of how we work, how we worked with business development and international relations bureau. So in the city of Łódź, where previously Mr. Deputy Mayor Adam Pustelnik was working, and currently working with his extended team. So some good examples which are leading to our company and city, but also country growth, is providing the references and the recommendations for our new potential clients. And we had several cases where Mayor of Łódź, Hanna Zdanowska, provided her testimonial both in a formal letter, but also recording the personalized video where she's talking about the importance of our company for the Łódź region, but also what we are doing and how we are contributing each other to the mutual growth, I would say. Then the second example would be also the support in our internal discussions, which the directors from the Łódź office were kindly doing for us. So the example was when we had our mother company executive members coming to our delivery center. Also, one of the directors from the Łódź bureau was coming here and presenting the city, the competitions, the opportunities which we can give to each other, and that helped also our executive members to take some strategic decision in terms of the localization of next offices and development of Infosys in Central and Eastern Europe. Also, the one for the end, I think from my side, it was a great example of joint forces. One between the Bureau of International Relations. Second one with Mr. Amit Lath, who is the Sharda Group CEO and Director of Europe for India Chamber, and Infosys, when we're discussing one of the issues we had sometimes back in Poland, I think 2-3 years ago, when we joined our forces to have some influence on Polish administration in terms of pushing back the long timing when waiting for the work permits for our India colleagues, our Indian employees, and also during that discussion to make it even more important and to impact it heavier. His Excellency Ambassador of India in Poland was visiting our delivery center together with Amit Lath, and together we're discussing the next steps and what we can do together to support the development of the business with our Indian colleagues. Yeah, so that will be it from my side for now, and happy also to take any questions which you may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Slawinski. It was good to hear about the entire journey of Infosys. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are open to take questions. So if you have any questions, request you to kindly post it in the Q&A box. Meanwhile, we have received a few questions. So I will just address it to our panelists one by one. There is one question that is addressed to the Deputy Mayor. Mr. C. Kumar wants to know what is the minimum amount of investment requirements to start a business in service industry in Lodz and to get the work permit as well. So, Mr. Deputy Mayor, may I request you to kindly...
Okay, so hello everyone. I haven't had the opportunity to say hello, but I'm the guy who will take the questions addressed to the mayor. I am the Vice Director of Business Development Bureau here in Łódź, and I am responsible for bringing new investors on board, especially from your particular sector. So referring to the question, there is no minimum level of investment in order to invest in Łódź. But there is a minimum capex that you have to meet in order to be the beneficiary of the special economic zone. So what it means, when you invest at least 4 million zlotys, which translates into like more or less $1 million, you are eligible to be granted with up to 55% of investments cost refundation. So, and what's counted in this investment volume? So first, there are expenditures like acquiring software, computers, equipping the workplaces, but on the other hand, the eligible cost is as well the remuneration of the employees. So when you decide on starting the services activities within the special economic zone, for 2 years, you're able to be granted with the public support amounted to expenditure costs of hiring your half of your staff. So to putting it simple. So I guess it's one of the strongest advantages, investment incentives available here in Poland. And I'll be more than happy to present those tools and incentives in details during the separate meeting. So whoever wants to learn more about this specific procedure, I'll be very happy to run a dedicated seminar webinar for you. But this is referring to this first question. What was the second one? Can you please remind me?
The second one was this gentleman wants to know about the work permit, in the city of Lodz.
Yeah, this is not strictly within my authority, but what has to be mentioned at this stage, so presenting broadly the topic, we are the region that is dealing very well with issuing work permits for the foreigners. And when it comes to business service sector, we can establish a fast track for the specialists from this area because we have a common understanding with the authority that is responsible for bringing experts here to Łódź to make it as smooth as it can be for the people that are bringing here to the city specialized skills. So there's no problem for you when you want to bring your specialists from India to work here in Łódź to be serviced with special care and really fast when it comes to the time lapse of the procedure.
Okay. We have another question. Mr. Jaishankar wants to know approximately how many restaurants and retail stores would be there in Poland.
This is a very hard question. So I'm not ready to answer it straight away, but I will be more than happy to prepare a proper answer for you after we finish this meeting. I will get back with the numbers.
Sure. Another question is from Ms. Seema Menon. She wants to know the economic benefits at Gdzank, if I've pronounced it correctly.
So
Thanks,
maybe I'll
yes.
take this one.
Yes.
Yes, Gdańsk is another city in the north of Poland, and the economic benefits are exactly, or I mean, if you mean the incentives, they're exactly the same as in Łódź, so the same level of support is granted in Gdańsk as in Łódź.
Okay. There is this fintech startup company. It plans to open European language support office, and they have a query regarding the technical skills and language pool availability in Lodz as well as Warsaw and Krakow.
Yeah.
Anvita, I
Okay.
think Ms. Monika has answered that also during her presentation. So maybe I will just reiterate a similar view on this. Whereas for sure the population of all of the citizens, and including also the people from that sector, is bigger in Krakow and Wrocław. Also the saturation is higher there, yes, on the market, and which as also proved on my Infosys story, is also having more and more ITO sector representatives here in our city, developing very quickly with the pool available, and also much cheaper than this kind of profiles in the other cities of Poland. So this is also worth to be taken into consideration.
Okay. There's one more question saying, how can we find smaller BPO companies in Poland to acquire? Okay.
Any volunteers to take?
Anyone can just take it.
Who has the list?
Well, sometimes we are approached by some companies that that are, let's say, on sale. So sometimes we know we generally focus on supporting rather direct investments, new investments in the manufacturing, in the business services sector, rather than mergers and acquisitions. But if you're interested, you can also write to us, because as I said, sometimes companies, they simply let us know if that they want to find an investor, and if we're aware of any company wishing to invest.
Okay. Next one is specifically addressed to Mr. Semners-Wolf. It says, is it possible to get a job over there in Infosys? If here I have a candidate as per your requirement. If yes, then what is the process and which status can I get?
Very good question, and happy to receive that. For sure, there is opportunity to get the job. I think in Infosys Poland, I think currently we are having around 150 open vacancies related to our growth, but also replacement of the talents. So I believe we are present on all of the job portals and LinkedIn. And if you have some direct candidate available, please reach out to me on LinkedIn or offline via organizers of this webinar, and they can give you my email address so that we can be in touch.
Okay. The other question is, which is the best region or center for manufacturing of consumer goods in Poland? Does Fmcg goods manufacturing sector get any special grants? Mr.
Okay, so I can answer that.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say there is something like the best region, because it all depends on the requirements for the land, for the plot that you have, whether you need what amount of, for example, water, gas, electricity, and so on. And based on that requirements, we search in the whole territory of Poland. And the investment incentives, they're also available in the whole territory of Poland. They just differ in terms of the amounts depending on the region. So if you decide to invest in those less developed regions of Poland, so for example, with Eastern Poland, then the level of incentives there is higher, and also the requirements for you to be eligible for the incentives is lower. In those more developed parts of Poland, it works differently. So, or it works actually the same. So. The less developed, the more developed region, the less incentives, the smaller amount incentives you get, and the requirements for you are higher to meet to be eligible for that funding. There, I mentioned it in my presentation. So the food industry, the FMCG sector, it's also one of our priorities. A lot of foreign investors. But I would say they're spread all over Poland. So it doesn't matter the region, it's about your requirements, the number of people that you want to hire and so on.
Okay. The last
So
question.
maybe,
Yes.
can I add something on top of what Monika said? So it's true what she mentioned about, but still, since the event is somehow about Łódź, I want to add that when it comes to the big Polish cities, we are most favorably located. So we are in the very center of Poland, and we are the only big city that has the access to motorways that are surrounding Łódź from each direction. And we are the city with the biggest unemployment among big Polish cities, what makes the market very much not overheated when it comes to recruiting people of the profile of the blue collar. So this combination of those two factors makes us the perfect spot to distribute products across Poland and across Europe, and to when you are taking care of the costs, not to spend too much on the whole process. And when you are focused on the salaries, we are still the best choice among the big Polish cities. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
We have another question addressed to Ms. Monika. It's which month would be able to travel to Poland to explore the business opportunity? If we need to do research, or would your agency help us with this?
So it's difficult to say when the borders, when the external borders of the European Union will be open. For now, if we have foreign investors that want to do the site visits, and they're already advanced in their search for the location, and they need to come to do the final decision, we help them to get a special permit to enter Poland and to be released from the quarantine in order to visit those sites and meet the relevant stakeholders. So answering this question, yes, we would be we could help you with that, but probably would start with organizing rather virtual visits, and if absolutely necessary, then we could help you also in getting to Poland and seeing the location for your own and making the decision.
Okay, thank you so much to all our panelists, and with this we come to an end to the Q&A session. Now we have with us Dr. Renu Shom, the director of EU Chamber. She has been associated with the chambers for more than 10 years and is responsible for the overall activities of the chamber. Ma'am, may I request you to kindly formally propose a vote of thanks?
Just a minute. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the chamber and on my own, I would like to thank our guest of honor, Mr. Adam Pustelnik, Deputy Mayor of City of Lodz, for being with us for this interesting seminar, or I would say webinar. My sincere thanks also to our speaker, Ms. Monika Grzelak, Manager, Strategic Investment, Polish Investment and Trade Agency, and Mr. Przemyslaw Slawinski, Service Head Client Operation Infosys. I would like to thank you, and also I would like to thank Mr. Damian Irzyk, Consul General of Consulate Republic of Poland in Mumbai, who is a very supportive in Chambers activities, and also along with his colleague, Ms. Ada from the Polish Investment Agency. So it gives me really a pleasure to organize these kind of events, which generally helps our member companies, because the Chamber's objective is to promote the business between EU and India. And by doing so, we believe we do a lot of promotion of the various regions of European countries as well as India. I would also like to thank Mr. Amit Lat, who is a part of a Europe-India Chamber of Commerce, who because of him only, I would say we were able to organize this meeting. So thank you, Mr. Lat, for putting this together. I would say, like, you know, with Poland, especially with Poland, we share a very cordial and warm relation. Especially, I would talk about, my Vice President mentioned about the bilateral relation between the two regions. But specifically, I would like to talk about the relation which Chamber shares with the beautiful country as a Poland. Because I remember in past, we have taken few delegation to Poland, different part of Poland. We have been to Warsaw, we have been to Poznan. So various cities we have visited, and everywhere we have been received with the, I would say, very warmly we have been received. Lot of business to business meetings were organized. Even I would say, two of our representatives had been to Lodz city, which they were, like, you know, they were the guest of the city, and, you know, everything was taken care, and they have a very interesting meeting and B2B meetings for them. And I remember in 2011 when we visited, we have signed a MOU with the Poland India Chamber of Commerce for the promotion of the business between our two regions. And this MOU was signed, I would say, in front of the Secretary of State, Ministry of Economy, and our Mr. R.R. Singh, Secretary of the DIP from Ministry of Commerce. And we remember very well, you know, we were very well received by the Secretary of State from Poznan, which was Mr. Przemyslaw. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but I still remember, you know, it was in the Poznan, which where we have a beautiful meetings. And also, this is what I would say, as a chamber, we share the relation between our two country and all, especially with the Poland and all. And I'm sure in future also we will have many opportunities once the situation get normalized. We really hope to see, or I would say, we would like to take our business people to the city of Lodz, because and I look forward to, you know, meeting you, Mayor, as well as the other business people in the city. So with this word, I would like to thank each and everyone, all our participants who participated in great number. Not only number, there were a lot of question answers I could see. So this shows the interest of Indian people for the Poland. So with these words, I would like to thank you everyone, and stay safe. I would say this at the end. So thank you very much once again, and over to you, Anmita.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would once again like to thank all our speakers, especially the Deputy Mayor and Consul General, for taking out time and joining us today. I would even like to thank all our attendees for joining us. I would also request you to kindly fill the survey form that it will appear after the event. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and all our speakers. Hope to host you all soon. Thank you.